Good evening, and welcome to Horror Historian. My name is Amanda, and tonight we'll be discussing the 1962 Psycho Biddy horror, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. This movie kind of started this trend where these older actresses would get a career revitalization by doing like these psychological thrillers. This movie was directed by Robert Eldridge. This is the movie that he is most known for, but he is also known for Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, haven't seen it, Veracruz, haven't seen it, and The Longest Yard, have seen it, which is a wild collection of movies if you think about it. The writer was Lucas Heller. He had worked a lot with Eldridge, as well as The Dirty Dozen and The Flight of the Phoenix. I have not seen either one of those movies. The stars are Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, and Victor Buono. Davis is most known for Jezebel, haven't seen it, The Little Foxes, haven't seen it, and The Letter, haven't seen it. She was the first person to have consecutive Academy Award nominations for 5 years in a row, and also the first person to be nominated for 10 Oscars. And she deserved them. Let's not, everything aside, Betty Davis and Joan Crawford could act their asses off. Crawford is most known for Mildred Pierce. I love that movie. The Women, love that movie. And Sudden Fear, haven't seen it. For a long time, especially during the Great Depression, Crawford was pretty much the it girl. She kept managing to pull her career out of slumps, even when she was being described as being box office poison. Bono is most known for this, but he has also had a pretty solid career as playing King Tut in the Batman television show. I have seen that. In this movie, he's only about 24 years old, which is so wild because he looks older. I'm sorry. He was a gay man, although he was unable to come out during his lifetime. Happy Pride Month. The movie begins letting us know exactly who Baby Jane and Blanche Hudson are. When they were younger, Baby Jane was the one that was putting food on their table with the help of their father. Now, they were a vaudeville act with Blanche and her mother watching from the sideline. Vaudeville was a style of entertainment that had a bunch of different acts all kind of cobbled together and unrestrained. Ventriloquists, drag kings, drag queens, clowns, and a lot less nostalgic view for fairness, minstrels. Baby Jane is not particularly talented, even in the beginning of her life. She's not a talented singer, she's mostly just loud and confident. Her dramatic act is perfect for the medium that she is in, although vaudeville would not last as long as she may hope. Blanche is not treated as well as her sister, and Baby Jane isn't particularly kind to her either. Baby Jane is adored though, so she can get away with a lot more bad behavior than most other children. She throws a temper tantrum in front of the crowd, and she's coddled all the way through it. Her mother talks to Blanche, showing that someone in the family believed in Blanche. She can see that the older girl is the more talented one, and when she is an adult, that will certainly show. She asks that when that happens, that Blanche show Baby Jane more kindness than what has been shown to her. To her credit, when Blanche becomes an extremely famous actress, she does insist that Baby Jane come along with her. At this point in their lives, Baby Jane is a barely functioning alcoholic, and she's just not a good actress. And you can kind of tell from her vaudeville act that she was not going to translate well to movies, basically. But Blanche has it in her contract that for every movie that she does, Baby Jane must also be assigned to a movie. It's certainly more than Baby Jane ever would have given Blanche, but everything can't last, and Blanche is paralyzed from the waist down in a horrible accident. She was found outside of the gate to her home, and it is believed that Baby Jane had tried to kill her. Baby Jane has no memory of what happened that night. She was drunk, and apparently, whatever she saw sent her into a several-day bender. Since then, their careers have stopped entirely. Baby Jane can't have a career without Blanche, and Blanche is certainly in retirement. They live together with Blanche's room on the second floor. That is the first sign that there has been some abuse going on in that household. Blanche cannot go downstairs. She is in a wheelchair. She is already being secluded from the very moment that she wakes up. All she has is a bird in a cage, something that must feel pretty apt. Baby Jane is still an alcoholic. She is still running the household and doing whatever she wants. And she wants her career to come back. She wants to have people notice her in the streets. She wants to so desperately to look young instead of looking pretty unhinged, which is what she looks like as an adult now. Betty Davis came up with a look for Baby Jane, and I cannot even imagine what that must have looked like in person and in color. It looks wild on film and in black and white, so I have. It must have been wild. Blanche's old films have started to be released on television, leading to more interest in her life than there had been in a long time, including their neighbors, who have no idea what kind of hell they are living in. Although the mother definitely doesn't like Baby Jane, who she has to deal with from time to time, just truly a nasty, unlikable woman, especially when she's trying to be. She's very, very nasty. The only person other than Baby Jane and her doctor that Blanche is in contact with is Zelda. She's a black maid that comes to the house to help out with Blanche. She really does not get along with Baby Jane, but returns because she has a pretty solid friendship with Blanche and honestly, Blanche is nice. Truthfully, the money hasn't been as good as it's been in a while. Blanche can't afford to stay where they have been, and she knows that they're both far too old to be living on their own like this. She knows that she needs help, and she knows that Baby Jane is not the person that can actually give her that help. As well as, truthfully, Baby Jane desperately needs help. Realistically, Baby Jane would need to be placed into a psychiatric facility if she was not living with Blanche. Baby Jane knows this to some degree, feeling things are being cut off, and that Blanche is making plans without her. It turns out that a lot of the missing money is due to Baby Jane. She can forge Blanche's signature, and she can perfectly mimic Blanche's voice. And it's very easy for her because Blanche can't leave the house without her. Baby Jane decides to cut Blanche off from the rest of the world so that they don't have to go anywhere. She starts out by really tormenting her mentally, putting Blanche's dead bird on a plate and serving it to her for a meal, playing with her to make her believe that she can have food, only to scare her into being afraid to eat. This all goes on for a while, even mocking her by leaving her actual food hidden on the tray, but because Blanche is so afraid of it being her bird, she won't eat. The next meal that she goes to eat, believing that her sister is going to feed her again, is a rat. She doesn't eat anything for a majority of the movie, and it starts to leave her just weak. She does try to get into contact with the rest of the world, but struggles due to Baby Jane stepping in and ruining any plans. While ignoring Blanche's pleas for help, Baby Jane decides that it's time for her to reinvent her own career. She brings a man in by the name of Edwin Flagg. He is a pianist and he is desperate for a job. He has no idea what he is getting into. Edwin lives with his mother, and he is also an alcoholic. He thinks quite highly of himself, and he has a tendency of talking over Baby Jane, but she's so desperate to have a friend that she's willing to just let him do it. He definitely knows that this job isn't what he thought it was going to be when he signed up for it, but as long as the check's clear, then he doesn't really care. You can even tell that Edwin is not particularly impressed by her abilities. She hadn't been particularly talented as a child, but as an older woman, the whole thing comes off a lot creepier and sadder than I think Baby Jane would have expected. Edwin, also, notably, does not know who Baby Jane is. His mother gives him all the details about the public perspective of who Baby Jane is. She's a nutcase that was jealous of her sister and tried to kill her. Edwin is in denial about this, but it does make him a bit nervous, especially since he's never actually seen Blanche. By the way, Baby Jane knows all about the plan to sell the house from under her. She knew that she was going to be institutionalized. That's the real reason that they're doing this right now. Blanche has never had any real privacy in the house. Blanche had made her way down the stairs and got to the only working phone, and she called her doctor. And her doctor is very dismissive of her. He does not treat her seriously at all, even though this is a woman that he knows to be as like a dignified person. She is sounding frustrated and scared, and it's just very standard for how a lot of male doctors treat their patients, and that was a knock right out of the park. Baby Jean gets home and just beats the hell out of Blanche. She calls the doctor back and, using Blanche's voice, tells him that everything is fine and she was just overreacting. And he just goes with it, not bothering to actually show up and check. Baby Jane ties up Blanche to make it extremely difficult for her to do anything. She can't walk. She's growing weaker by the day as she hasn't been given anything to eat. I don't actually know if she's been giving that much to drink either. The next time that we see her, it's pretty obvious that she's dying. Unfortunately, the next time we see her, it's when Elvira has returned to try and find her. She was suspicious the first time that she was sent away, but the second time was just she doesn't believe Baby Jane. She waits for Baby Jane to leave for the bank and sneaks inside. She isn't able to save Blanche and is killed by Baby Jane in the breaking point of the movie. Eventually, Baby Jane was going to stab and kill someone at this point. I just thought it, when I first saw this, I just thought it would be Blanche. That night, Baby Jane gets rid of Elvira's body, but someone is going to be missing her very soon. The police arrive at the house asking about Elvira. Her family is looking for her, and they know that they had like a relationship, her and Blanche, so they just want to see if she had been by. Baby Jane manages to keep it cool for the moment, but it is clear that she is going to be caught soon, and she's broken from reality for the most part. Blanche is, once again, dying. She knows it. She's trying to tell Baby Jane something, but there's nothing that Baby Jane wants to hear, other than a direct solution to the problems her behavior has caused. Baby Jane has it in her mind that they're going to go to the beach, where they used to go when they were children. And I think that's the thing I've always thought about Baby Jane. Like, yes, she is an iconic female villain. But it's at the end of the movie you start to understand how deeply damaged she was by her upbringing. She has no skills. And unfortunately for Baby Jane, Edwin stumbles in with the police and he's very intoxicated. He wants his money and she's kind of stuck to human. Um, but with everything going on, this is not what is needed. Baby Jane tries to keep him in the living room, but remembering what his mother had said, he makes his way upstairs. He finds Blanche and he runs like hell. He runs from the house to the nearest place they can get alcohol. But he must tell the police at some point what he had discovered because it's all over the news the following day. Baby Jane takes them to the beach where she had sung as a child. I truly believe that is when Baby Jane was last happy, and she takes Blanche along there to share that with her. Also, she can't just leave Blanche at the house. Blanche, well aware that she is actively on her way out, finally gets the chance to tell Baby Jane something that she should have told her a long time ago. I do think that Blanche took the abuse from Baby Jane because she thought she deserved it over everything that happened. At the same time, she could have been honest with Jane in the literal decades that they had. The night of the accident, Baby Jane was not the one that was driving the car. Baby Jane had been mocking Blanche and was drunk. She had been the one that was going to the gate to open it. Blanche is the one that tried to kill her sister. She had been humiliated by Baby Jane, despite being the only reason that Baby Jane even had a career as long as she did. So she drove herself into the gate. She broke her own spine. Jane was in shock and ran like hell, not remembering anything that happened that night, which it makes sense. It was a huge trauma. It gave Blanche the chance to frame her. She pulled herself out of the car and in front of it, making it look like Baby Jane had run her over. With all of that out in the open, Baby Jane can really only express that they could have been friends the entire time. It's a very childish way of looking at things, but that's Baby Jane. She goes off to get them ice cream, being recognized after a while by the police that are by the stand. They follow her and she starts to sing for everyone that gathers around them. Eventually, they find Blanche. I really don't think she survives. The only silver lining is that maybe Baby Jane got the help that she had needed for an extremely long time. This movie always just kind of makes me feel sad, especially knowing the kind of mess that was going on behind the scenes. And you can't really talk about the feud between Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and like more importantly, the way that because they were older women, that they were already being dismissed and like carry on. You don't have anything of value to add to this conversation of your career that you dedicated your life to. These two women, in the end of their careers, came together and worked on a movie that was just entertaining. I really do not think it would have been as memorable without both of these immense talents. Betty Davis plays an absolutely unhinged character that is almost a mockery of the industry, while Joan Crawford, in a role very opposite to the ones that I associate her with, plays this quiet victim of her own creation. It's scary to an extent, being at the mercy of someone like Baby Jane. That has to be terrifying. But you end up feeling bad for Baby Jane and bad for Blanche. And you know that no matter what, this is going to be their real legacy. No singing and dancing on the beach, no award winning performances reruns on modern television. This is what happened to Baby Jane.